What up, y'all? It's Coach Vassar. This is the OTF Audio Daily Beats. Thank you for joining me. As always, if you're new to these, we're going to do a little deep dive of the workout. If you find value in these, information below on how to support me, completely optional. Don't support me until you find value in them. This is going to be Thursday, October 10th, and it's going to repeat on Monday, October 21st. We're going to see strength on the treads, endurance on the rower, and then strength on the weight floor. The 2G is a row run, and then the 3G is not. So just be aware of that. We'll go over the 2G stuff and then differences in the 3G that you'll see, and then go from there. So with 2G, we're going to see the run row. Magic number today is 8. We're going to start with an 800-meter row, and then you're going to head to the tread for a 0.8-mile run. After that, you have 4 rounds of tread for distance and an exercise. The 4 rounds add up to 0.8 miles, and you guessed it, 8 reps per exercise. All for the extra challenge. Every tread distance starts at an 8% incline. Let's make 8 your lucky number. It's a lot of 8s. For the floor, we're going to see 3 blocks. You're going to lift heavy in block 1. Block 2, we're going to add stability, and then block 3, it's a little bit of core work. And then how many reps can we get? 8 reps. For the setup, you'll need benches and dumbbells. This is one where if you have a 2 groups class and you have people on the rowers, definitely put wipes out there for them. So after their warm up, they can wipe down the rower. So that way the tread team, they're gonna come to a fresh row. So when we look at the treads and rowers, the block is gonna be 23.5 minutes. They're gonna start with that 800-meter row just the one time. And then after that, they don't touch the rower again until the bonus or the finisher. So that's just something to be mindful of. So the 800-meter row, true endurance test here. Most people, it's going to be anywhere from about 2.5 to 4 minutes. Use that stored program, be a conservative push, leg drive, nice 6-ish, 7 out of 10. Stroke rate, keeping it consistent, about 26 to 28 strokes per minute. After that, they're going to be doing some self-paced work on the treadmills, and they're also getting off the treadmills a few times. So be mindful of spacing and where you stand. So try not to be right behind the treads, especially if they're getting on and off. You don't want to take anyone's space. So they're going to start with a 0.8-mile tread at 8% incline, and they decrease their incline by 2% every 0.2 miles. So they'll start at 8%, and then when they get that first 0.2, they're down to 6, and then halfway they're at 4. The last 0.2 is going to be at that 2% incline. And then when they're done, they're going to walk as long as they need to until they're ready to begin part 2. Power walkers, we're going to see a 0.4-mile tread, and then they will start at an 8% incline as well, and they'll drop every 0.1. For the bikes and striders, they recommend starting at a push gear, and then as they hit the distance checkpoints, they're going to drop a gear. So knowing that the treads are seeing some pretty substantial incline, for their push gear, maybe closer to the 4 or 5 gears over base as opposed to 3 or 4, that they have room to kind of drop down. Once they finish that and they do their walk, they'll go into part 2. Good practice here is for the people to tap clear screen when they're ready. They're going to set their incline back up at 8% incline, and they're going to do a 0.2-mile tread. Once they finish that, they hit pause, come off the treadmill, and they'll do 4 reps of that reverse lunge to single leg hop. 4 per side, so a total of 8. That's one round. When they get back on the treadmill, they'll do another 0.2, but this time it's going to be at a 6% incline. For the power walkers, it'll be the same inclines, but of course distances are cut in half, so 0.1 every time. So the final round will be 0.2 at a 2% incline. They'll hit their movement pattern, and then after that they have their bonus where they could either tread or row until the finisher. And then the finisher is a member choice of either all out on the treadmill or all out on the rower for the final 30 seconds. So if you use a run-in clock at about 22 minutes and 30 seconds, that's gonna be that 30-second window of people getting to where they need to go for their finisher. Knowing that they start at a pretty high incline, as far as recommendations for what to kind of hold, 7% added on to their flat road is going to be very similar to like a 1.4, 1.8 speed increase. So if anything, starting maybe below their base or at their base is going to be probably a good place to start. And then as they lose incline, they could steadily increase the speed, maybe 0.1, 0.2 every distance checkpoint. More aggressive opportunity here, of course, is if they could hold base or maybe something just above it, and then same thing, maintain or increase speed as the incline goes down. In that second part, with the decrease in inclines every round, maybe see if they could add speed or at least maintain the speed that they used for their distance. And that's going to be the treads and rowers. When we look at the weight floor, we have 3 blocks over here. First block is going to be 8 minutes. Second block is going to be 9.5. And then the last block is a 3-minute block. And you have about 90 seconds to set them up between. For the first block, we're going to see strong. Second block is stable. So complete overview is strong and stable, but different blocks. Both blocks will have circuits with dumbbells. We're going to see a low row, deadlift, closed grip chest press from the bench, and then a full alternating step up for 8 total reps. So everything's 8 reps. Step ups, of course, 4 per side as you alternate. Knowing that rep is at 8, moderate to heavy weight. And then when we go to that stable work, movement patterns are going to be very similar. So now we have the bench bird dog low row in place of the dumbbell row, single arm, single leg deadlift in place of the regular deadlift. You have the bicycle press in place of the closed grip chest press, and then a step up to knee raise as opposed to just the step up. Everything's still 8 reps. The low row and the deadlift will be 8 per side. The press and the knee and the step up knee raise will be 8 total, so 4 per side. In that first block, we should probably get about 2 or 3 rounds. The second block, same thing. Probably use a little bit lighter weight since now stability is a factor involved with it. In the third block, it's a very quick block, and it's going to be member choice, just like the treads and rowers finisher. So they have 2 different circuits, one that focuses on anti-rotation and then one that focuses on rotation. So have a high plank lateral reach. So they're going to be in that plank position, arm sticks out, try not to twist, keep those hips and shoulders pointed down to the ground. 8 on one side, 8 on the other. And then you have the low plank alternate and punch. So same idea, but from that forearm position, instead of going out, now we're going forward. That one they're going to alternate. So now we're trying to minimize any hip rotation as well as shoulder rotation. And they'll repeat those 2 movements. Now, if their choice is on rotation focus, they'll have a high plank to side plank. So they'll start in that high plank position, and now they'll turn and rotate everything and go into that side plank on one side, come back down, and then do 8 on one, 8 on the other. And then they're gonna have a sit up with alternating rotation. So they'll come about halfway, twist, twist, and then all the way back down. For the finisher, it'll be the second movement from either circuit of whichever one they wanna do. So they could do the plank punch or the sit up with rotation. That's gonna be the 2G simple breakdown. When we look at the 3G, this will be timed by you for the treads. You'll have 2 blocks. First block is timed, second block you'll at least launch them, and then after that they're on their own. You'll have a 90-second recovery to break down that second block. So block 1 is gonna be a 6-minute tread for distance. They're gonna start at an 8% incline, including power walkers, and then you'll cue them to decrease their incline every 90 seconds. So they're gonna see 3 total drops on incline in that 6-minute block. So they'll start at 8, 6, 4, and they'll hold that. And then at the end of that, 6 minutes, check their distance, remember how far they got. After a 90-second walk recovery, they're gonna clear out their screen at the start, and then for block 2, you will time them for that first minute. It'll be tread for distance at flat road. You'll see the same movement pattern, 8 reps, so 4 per side, reverse lunge to single leg hop. The key thing here is once they finish their 1-minute tread, remind members to pause the tread rather than stop it. So hit the stop key just once so they stay logged into the OT Connect. They'll do their 8 reps. They get back on the treadmill. They hit start. That starts their next minute, and they just keep repeating that. Time frame wise, they should get hopefully 3, maybe 4 rounds at the absolute most, but definitely 3. Since that's gonna be about 3 minutes of tread work, and it's gonna be about a minute to get off, do the reps to get back on. So they should get at least 3 rounds in there, and then they'll finish with a 30-second all out for that 7-minute block. And the goal here is to try to match their distance that they collected from block 1. Now, just like in the 2G with block 1, pretty high on that incline to start. So once again, they start more conservative, maybe below their base. More advanced people maybe start at base or just above. And then as they trend down with incline, bump up the speed. For the bikes and striders, they'll do very similar things, but they'll start at that push gear every 90 seconds, drop a gear by 1 until they get it. When we look at the rower, we're gonna have a stored program for 6 minutes, and they're gonna do a similar setup as the second block on the treads. So block 1, they'll do a 1-minute row, all out effort, and then they have 2 different bodyweight movements. When they finish, they get back on the rower, check their time, they time themselves for the next minute for another all out, and they'll just keep repeating that. So make sure they don't reset their screen at the end of the 6 minutes. Hopefully they got about 3, maybe 3.5 minutes of actual row time. How far they get, can they match or beat it in block 2? And what they'll do here is clear out their screen, and then they will row their distance. Once they're done, they'll do rack and recover 100-meter all outs as a bonus until they hit a 30-second all out. And during that endurance challenge there, they choose their row intensity. Since they were rowing at an all out for those minute efforts, it's gonna be more of like a conservative to a moderate push intensity row so they could sustain. And they should be able to finish it in around, 4 minutes or so, or less. And then they'll have a couple opportunities for that rack and recover 100-meter all out. The weight floor, we're gonna see a 14.5-minute block, just one long block, 2 rounds of strong circuits, 2 rounds of stable, and then they choose which one they want to repeat until the finisher. We are going to drop a movement pattern from these circuits, so we're just going to see low row, deadlift, close grip chest press, and then bench bird dog low row, single leg, single arm deadlift, and the bicycle press. And same thing, 8 reps for everything, except for now the stable is 8 reps per side, including the bicycle reps. So they're going to do 16 total reps there, which is a little bit different than the 2G format. So just make sure members are aware of that, and when you coach that, looking at the VVA. Finisher is going to be the low plank alternating punch that we saw from the 2G. And that's going to be your 3G rundown. So strength on the treads, endurance on the rower, and then strength on the weight floor. On the 2G, plenty of opportunity to be with the weight floor as the treads are self-paced over there with their tread card. So, obviously get over there, help them out, get some good form corrections, give them some good cues, off mic, on mic, set them up for success with their heavy weight and then with their stability work. And then when it comes to that core sequences, if people choose to do that anti-rotation, one thing that I love to do is use that kneeling pad and place it on their hips. So as they're doing the lateral reach, if they are twisting, they're gonna feel that mat kind of wiggle on their hips, and gives them that good tactile feedback of like, oh, okay, I'm moving, I need to keep it stable. Something that I picked up from one of my former veteran coaches who's been doing it for a long time, and I loved it, and I use it almost every single class that we use any type of rotation work or anti-rotation stuff. So that's all I got for you guys. Have a great class with these. As always, any feedback, let me know. Thank you for tuning in, and coach it all down.